About 50,000 New Mexicans are on the road or expected to be on foot today, a sign of their faith and willingness to sacrifice. This, of course, is Good Friday, a very sacred day for Christians, a day where some of the faithful in New Mexico actively show their faith. Matt is in the Newsplex with more. Hi, Matt.
Good morning, Elizabeth. Once again, it's those who believe no explanation is needed. To those who don't, well, no explanation is possible. New Mexico has a lot of Roman Catholics, and showing their faith on this Good Friday is a very long-time tradition steeped for generations. So with this Good Friday coming just a couple of weeks after Pope Francis I was elected, the church's leaders think even more of the faithful may make the trek this year because of all the excitement about the first pope from the Americas. Now, among his Holy Thursday observations, Pope Francis broke with tradition. He washed and kissed the feet of 12 young prisoners, including 2 women in a detention center in Rome. The traditional ceremony is usually limited to men because of the disciples that Jesus had at the Last Supper. They were all men. Now, back here in New Mexico, there's nothing like that waiting for the faithful making the annual Good Friday pilgrimage to El Santuario de Chimayo, where many believe the soil at the shrine has healing powers. Several law enforcement agencies will be increasing patrols on the busiest roads. This is New Mexico 502 and 503 and US 84 285. They've been handing out glow sticks to walkers to make them more visible to drivers, and thousands more will make the 2-mile hike up Tomé Hill in Valencia County to pray before 3 crosses that are there. Now, if you're driving anywhere near these areas, again, please slow down and be very careful out there. And because of the holiday, a lot of public schools, including Albuquerque's and Rio Rancho's, are closed today. Bernalillo's County's offices are also closed, and a lot of state ones are too, or they're on a shorter schedule. For example, Workforce Solutions is going to close at noon. Federal offices are open and so are banks, but the stock market is closed, and Albuquerque city offices are open. Trash, bus, and rail runner are all on their regular schedule, so it's a good idea just to check things out before you head out today. Elizabeth.
In other news this morning, a lengthy report following the Sheriff's Department of last month's fatal crash involving APD Sergeant Adam Casals does little to support his cause. Casals was charged with vehicular homicide this week, but not arrested. February 10th, Casals sped through a red light in a police unit, crashing into a Honda, killing 21-year-old Ashley Browder and injuring her sister. A 145-page report shows investigators found no proof to support Casals' claim that he was pursuing a possible drunk driver. Witnesses did not see any vehicle in front of him. Casals never called dispatch to report that he was looking for a dangerous driver. The report findings undercut Casals' repeated claim that he had his siren and emergency lights on. The black box in his police unit clocks Casals' speed at 65 miles an hour, which was over the posted speed limit in that area. Still, Casals does not meet the threshold for arrest.
We also have someone who is of reasonable age who has never violated the law previously. And we know that this didn't involve any kind of alcohol or drugs in the behavior, so the threat to public safety isn't something that we're concerned about.
The DA and the BCSO insist they did not handle Casals' case any differently than any other.
A new twist in the murder case against a former Albuquerque police officer. Levi Chavez is accused of killing his wife, Tara, in their home in Los Lunas back in 2007 and making it look like a suicide. Investigators say he did it because she was about to turn him in for insurance fraud. Well, some of her friends and relatives were set to testify at a hearing yesterday, saying that Tara warned them if anything ever happened to her, Levi did it. But the judge postponed them, didn't allow them to testify, saying it's simply too early for that. And both Tara's family and Levi's lawyer are okay with that.
Are not going to be ready to be discussed until much closer to trial.
The judge thought it best that we wait until trial. He doesn't want any of the potential jurors to hear any of the evidence up front.
Levi Chavez is supposed to go on trial June 11th.
APD releases the chopper video that shows the deadly conflict between a man and his neighbor in Ventana Ranch. Cops say Donnie Pearson shot Jonathan Mitchell. They say neighbors described Mitchell was standing in their driveway with a gun. Video shows Pearson drive up to Mitchell's house in his SUV. Investigators say you see Mitchell shoot from his driveway. About 3 seconds later, Pearson fires back, hitting Mitchell. The video then shows Mitchell and his brother running into a neighbor's yard where Mitchell eventually dies. APD is sending the case to the DA to decide if Pearson should be charged. Clovis police are looking for a masked robber who recently hit up the New Mexico Bank and Trust on Main Street. It happened yesterday morning. The guy demands money but did not show a gun. He then took off on foot. He is described as a light-skinned male in his 20s, medium height, and he had a slim build. He was wearing a green hoodie. Call police if you have any information.
The next time you go to buy a car and you do it online, look out. Here's a warning about a new scheme that is popping up, particularly in Albuquerque. In fact, a couple from Canada just got taken for a real ride by this. The two saw a Cadillac Escalade online they thought was from Alvarez Auto Sales, so they put thousands of dollars down. They flew to Albuquerque, took a cab to what they thought was a dealership, but this is what they saw. That was called Out West Auto Corral. It's a completely different dealership that has absolutely nothing to do with the scheme.
Blatant fraud. It's a scam.
The head of New Mexico's Independent Auto Dealers Association says in just 26 hours this week, 15 people fell for the same scheme. So if you're buying a car online, the best advice, do your homework. Call the Better Business Bureau or the Attorney General's office to make sure everything is legit. Well, a bill to protect you from identity theft has passed the legislature 2 years in a row. The same bill the governor says she will now veto for the second year in a row. Supporters of it say it'll help people such as Raymond Romero, who was wrongly accused of robbing a Hobby Lobby. The charges against him ended up getting dropped, but that does not always show up online.
I applied for a job and they say, oh, well, here's your felony record. And I'm like, well, I have a letter saying that it wasn't me, but.
The bill would completely clear Romero's name, other people who have been wrongly accused too, and those who have had their identities stolen. But the governor says it could also clear real criminals' records, and that's why she is not going to sign this once again.
The Attorney General's office has cleared former Secretary of State Mary Herrera. Current Secretary of State Diana Duran claimed that when she took over the office after a messy 2010 campaign, there was missing paperwork. She also claimed that there was suspicious spending. Herrera was also accused of having state employees collect signatures for her campaign. 3 years later, the AG ruled Herrera did nothing criminal. Two bills designed to keep your kids safer in New Mexico are now law. Governor Susana Martinez signed the bills yesterday. One allows the Children, Youth and Families Department immediate access to federal criminal background checks in emergency foster placement situations. The second bill allows the Amber Alert to be issued for kids who may have been kidnapped by a family member.